I ended up getting convicted of life without the possibility of parole, and it held the death penalty. So you can only imagine. I almost passed out in the court when they said, hey, so this is a death penalty case. I said, well, I'm only 18. What do you mean?
Information also emerging about a riot at Donovan State Prison that prompted a lockdown and huge medical response.
The Menendez brothers, who killed their parents, are now housed in the same unit of a San Diego prison.
Donovan State Prison is home to some infamous prisoners, including the Menendez brothers. Sirhan, who assassinated Senator Robert Kennedy.
Senator Kennedy had been shot.
And Tex Watson, a well-known member of the Manson family.
Manson said, hey, I want you to go out and kill these people, to go up to this place and kill the one that is there.
Maybe can we go down the line and say our names again, and maybe how long we've been here for, if you're willing to say that?
So my name is Craig. I've been at RJD for 1 year, and I've been incarcerated for 16, and I go home in 2 months.
My name's Savi, and I've been at RJD since early 2022, but I've been incarcerated for almost 12 years.
My name is JC. I've been at Donovan for almost a year. In a few days, it'll be a year. And I've been incarcerated for over 16 years.
I'm Unique. I've been here since 2022 or 21-ish. I've been incarcerated for about 16 years. Yeah, that's it.
Remind me of your name again?
JC.
JC. That's my dad's initials.
That's my actual birth name initials, but my chosen.
I was going to ask you, so when you're here, you go by a chosen name, I'm assuming, right?
Amongst the population. Not the staff.
Of course, they have to know your full name, but you don't tell people your full name here?
No.
That's for safety reasons, or?
No, I'm non-binary. So for me, it's using my birth name is a dead name. So JC is my chosen.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
When did you, find out or realize that you're non-binary? What did that look like for you?
Oof. I started hearing about non-binary and gender non-conforming and all this stuff. I'm like, what is that? Because I used to just identify as on the orientation side of things, just like, oh, I'm bisexual, whatever. And then with respect to my gender gender identity, I was like, okay, something's off. I never felt like necessarily here nor there. And so as I learned more about what it meant to be gender non-conforming and non-binary, I'm like, oh, this actually fits. And through talking with the mental health people at the other prison I was at, she actually diagnosed me with gender dysphoria. And so that was more of a confirmation with respect to that aspect of me.
How is that handled in this sort of environment?
Well, as you can see, I primarily present more masculine than femme. So that's helped. But when you're trying to explain to people that you're transgender, but wait a minute, you don't look like a girl, it's like, yeah, but I'm still transgender. And explain that. It's a lot of educating people. You got your haters, as always, who will be like, you're confused. I'm like, no, I'm definitely not confused. I know where I'm at. So it just depends who you're talking to. And the prisons also matter. This prison's been way more affirming in every aspect than the prior prisons I've been at. So there's been a lot more better for me within the last year that I've been here than my prior 15 to 16 years incarcerated.
Thank you for talking with me today. Your eyes look so blue, and it's a good color on you, honestly.
I have been told that, yeah.
Yeah.
It brings out the blue in the eyes, yeah.
Do you remember that day, that time?
I do. I was active duty military when I was arrested. And I remember the day that they picked me up, and I was crossing the Coronado Bridge, because I'm right here from San Diego. And I remember that day, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And it was just so surreal that it's like, I'm never going to see this for a long time. And that was the hard part. It really hit me that day that seeing the sunlight, seeing the ocean again and all that, it was going to be a while.
Can we go back to before you were in prison?
Mm-hmm.
So what was your family life like?
I was actually married, and
to a woman, or?
Yeah.
But, and I don't mean to pry, but are you gay, or how do you?
Okay. Yeah, I was raised in a Christian home, and I knew right away from the get-go that I was broken, And so I did everything I could to choose the right way. I got married, and I joined the Navy, and I had a family, et cetera, and it was killing me inside. And then the U.S. military said, well, you can't be gay either. So not only did we have the don't ask, don't tell policies from President Clinton, but also, now I'm married. And so it was a big struggle all the way around. And so I just tried to do the right things, got married. And like I said, I said, oh, family, look, I've got this family and all this, et cetera, et cetera. He couldn't possibly be that person. And it just got to a point where I was like, I can't do it anymore.
Where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from Mexico. No, I'm just joking. My family's from Mexico, but I'm from Orange County.
How was life growing up for you?
It was tough because, again, knowing what you know, who you are, who you love, and you're living in a traditional Mexican home, sometimes you can't live certain things out. So living in the closet's been very tough. That affects every area of your life. You can't focus. You can't do different things because what if they find out? What if I do something wrong, like a certain mannerism or things like that? And in my culture, people pay attention. I didn't want to be labeled. I still don't. I don't even like the term non-binary. I'm just me.
Before you became incarcerated, did you ever think your life would end up here?
Never. Never, ever, ever. This is my one time and one shot only. This is it. I'm done.
So when you first entered the system, what were your thoughts?
I was scared to death. It's kind of interesting that I'm here because I actually did reception here at RJD. And it was very difficult because I was thrown into, I'm military, and this was all new to me. And I remember at my hearing with the captain, he says, go get yourself some tattoos and go be a badass. He says, because otherwise they're going to walk all over you. And I realized that from the get-go. When I was here the first time in 2008, there was the skinheads were kind of rampant here. And I was extorted and threatened, et cetera, because they saw new meat and I was pretty soft. And so I learned a lot during that.
I've heard that. I've heard from people that have spent a lot of their lives in and out of jail or prison from our community that you have to stand up for yourself because you have to show people you're strong and not to mess with you,
You do. You can't let anybody perceive you to be weak. And if you are, they're going to walk all over you.
So growing up, I always wanted to be a police officer, a law enforcement officer. When I got arrested for something that I'm still claiming today, which is the truth, that I'm innocent of. So I've been fighting since then. So I did not expect to ever be incarcerated. It wasn't like I was down that type of road. I was on the opposite side of things, trying to do good, trying to be good. And this is what happens when there's people get falsely accused of different things. And I've been here for 16 years. And so I didn't expect this, definitely, at all.
Wow. I know we're not going to get into, specifics of everything, but 16 years and you're claiming your innocence. That's so intense for you.
Mm-hmm. So it's been tough because you kind of sometimes you get staff as well as incarcerated people yeah, right, sure. But then once they get to know me and they're like, you know what? Okay, we kind of get it. We believe it. But it's just tough that you have to face the turmoils and the troubles of incarceration, and then being an open queer person, you got to face those headaches. And it's just where would I be at if I wasn't in here? And those dreams that basically got shattered of one day being a law enforcement officer and out there helping the community. And so it's, to say the least, some of my dreams have definitely changed, seeing a lot of injustice. And then after being out of the closet and seeing how life has affected queer people inside of prison, as well as people coming to prison that are queer, and just how not just black and brown folk, but also I call them rainbow folk, are also being affected by discriminatory laws and how they're applied. It makes me want to pursue a career in law. When you asked earlier, what dreams do we have? For me, it's not a dream. It's going to be a reality, and I'm going to become a criminal defense attorney.
I love it. I believe in you, too. Sometimes things happen in your life for a reason to show what you want to do with your life and how you want to help, the world.
Definitely. And I think that's what it was. I'm still believe in God. And so I've always been a firm believer that you're at the place you need to be at for a reason. So I had to come to prison, not necessarily for me, but probably for someone else. And I've come across so many people. And I believe I've helped different people in different aspects. So to me, just those things are well worth it. It's not a negative thing per se, because I've tried to find the positive in it. And as a lot of our queer community is, we focus on that rather than the negative.
Does your family believe your innocence?
Yes. Yes, definitely. We've talked, and at first they were like had mixed feelings, but then after we really had a good conversation, and you know, I was able to explain everything in detail during visits and things like that. Like, they believe it, and they're just waiting for that moment when I can just step out these gates and be out there and doing family things.
So you really explored your gayness while incarcerated?
For the most part, yes. When I was married, I never once cheated on my wife. And I was never with a man until after I got divorced. When I actually had my first boyfriend here in prison, it was a whole new world. And it was like, okay, this is where you're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Take me back to that. How did you meet him? What were the first conversations like?
Oh, it was very interesting. We hung out on the yard, and it was kind of like the dating scene, if you will. He had a lizard, and so he spent many hours searching for bugs to feed this lizard. And so I just hung out with him out on the yard, and he ended up being who I needed.
Is he still here right now?
He's incarcerated. He's in Avenal. We have talked about, once I get out, I have to wait a certain period of time, but I'll come back. I'll marry him.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys write to each other and stuff, or?
I write daily. He's not so much of a letter writer, so 2 times a week.
Do you think that if this wasn't the direction your life would have went, do you think you'd still be married with a woman?
No, I don't think so. I got to a point where it started getting dark, and I almost drove off the bridge, the pier at NAS North Island, because I was like, I can't do this anymore. You get pulled in too many different directions. You can't get the lies straight. You can't, all those feelings that you have inside, it just starts really making you sick. I was getting really ill with ulcers, and I wasn't able to talk to anybody. You can't tell anybody in the military because, it's going to get back to your command. And so it was ugly. Prison saved my life. End of story. I can't put it any other way. It saved me 100% because I was headed down the wrong path, and I was doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I needed to start living who I was. And now I can.
How does that feel?
Liberating. The doctors here are so amazing. What they're doing for us is huge, and we can be ourselves, and even though it's still a little iffy when you walk the yard and whatnot, you still have the gangbangers and all those that do not like the homosexual community at all. But there are those that do support us, and so it's liberating that we can actually be who we want to be.
I guess that kind of mirrors the outside world too. There's always going to be people that don't support us, that are trying to change laws to, prohibit us being our true authentic selves. But there are also our community of allies that, that we have to lean on during these times.
You're absolutely right. And like my mom and my sister, they're both living that right now. And there's places in Texas that they can't even go, And so, yes, I agree. You think I'm going to go run around with a rainbow flag all the way? Probably not. But, I'm slowly getting used to it because this is the first time I've lived openly on the streets. And so in less than 2 months, I get to do that. And I'm excited about it. And I just want to go see what life's all about now.
If you could paint your life, in 6 months from now, how does it look? Who does it include? What does it include? What is your daily life like?
Well, I obviously have to work. I have a lot of significant health problems, and so I need a transplant, and I need to do all these things. So I see myself really working towards getting my health and everything done. But when Junior gets closer to parole, I plan on putting my whole heart and soul into helping him with the board and getting him out.
Do you have regrets, or do you feel like everything happened for a reason to get you here?
I think everything happens for a reason. Have I enjoyed this? Absolutely not. It's been ugly, but it was necessary.
We have one more episode left of my time at the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility, and I am so happy that you're enjoying these episodes as much as I enjoyed meeting these residents and talking with them. I hope you're subscribed, and I will see you soon.